Hey guys, this is Joe from the Home Studio Guru, and this is a continuation video for the first video that I made for Slate VSX, comparing it to my home studio and how it sounds like and how to use it. And a lot of people have been asking me, like, how do you use it? Where do you put it in the mix? And how do you, set it up and all these things? Because a lot of people are having problem with VSX because some of them, they think it sounds like a headphone. And when I mentioned in the first video that it doesn't sound like a normal headphone, some people freaked out and didn't know what I mean by that. So I'm gonna use it right now, right in front of you. So if you have a VSX, just put it on, and I'm gonna be using it here to show you how do I use it, where do I put it in my DAW, and how to set it up from the beginning till the end. So it will help you a lot. Hopefully, actually, it will help you a lot to decide if it's a right purchase for those who didn't buy it, and for those who have it, just to know how to use it if you still don't know how to use it. So let's go through it. The first time you set it up, VSX has to be always at the last plugin in your mix, in your master bus. So if you see here, this is my master bus. I have a limiter, and right after the limiter goes VSX right here. So if you have a Studio One like me, if you don't have Studio One, it has to be at the last chain. If you have Studio One, we have something called a listen bus that you can activate from right here. You come in this thing here, and there is enable listen bus. Let me remove my picture so you don't mess up. Okay. You come to this key right here, and you go down, enable listen bus. Notice right here, this is the listen bus, the last one. I mentioned in my old video that the listen bus is exactly the same output that goes to the main bus, which is this one. It goes also to the listen bus. So they are like parallel. They have exactly the same output. So what you put on it, the only difference is the final sound that comes to you, it comes from the listen bus. But when you export, the listen bus don't get exported. That's if you have Studio One. If you don't have, let's say you don't have Studio One. Let's forget about the listen bus. Let's say you have any DAW. So we're going to be using VSX as the last plugin in your chain. So after the limiter, last thing. And how to set it up. After you install it, you need to put the headphone serial number, which you have it. Usually it's on the right side of the right ear cup. You'll find it right here on the right ear cup. You just type that, and you set the auto bypass on export. This is really nice because you don't want your sound to be exported through VSX. If you keep this one disabled, every time you export, you need to shut off VSX. So this does it automatically for you. Every time you export, it just shut down. So you don't hear the emulation with your mix after you export. And here you have something like a walkthrough, tell you how to use it. VSX have something ear profile that most of the people are not taking care of that. They're not looking at it. They don't know what is the ear profile. Ear profile, you can actually read it right here. The ear profile ensures that what you hear with the VSX is the flattest response for your unique ear canal shape. So if you have a very thin ear canal, some people, they have a big ear canal, and some, they have a thin ear canal. How do you know that? Simply, if you have earbuds, like earphones, usually you have 3 sizes of buds on them, or like a rubber on top of them. If the one that you use are the small one, the smallest one, that means you have a small ear canal. If you need the big one, otherwise they will fall from your ears, that means you have a big ear canal, or you have an average ear canal. So that's what this ear profile is. So here it tells you exactly what you have to do. So by default, the ear profile slider is set to an average size, which makes the frequency response sound great for most people. Now, If you have a small ear canal opening, you'll hear more upper mid-range frequencies. Move the slider to the right. So you use number 2 if you have a very small ear canal. But if you have a big ear canal, a large opening, then move it to the left. Now, it's true what they're saying here, but like for instance, I have a big ear canal, but for me, the best one for me is number 2. So don't count on what's written here and what is said here. Just test it by yourself. And how do you test it? You drag one of your favorite songs, like a song that you really know, and you put the earphone on and pick one of the rooms, any room, doesn't matter. I mean, this is a good room because it's a mastering room. So you will hear all the, or actually, if you have the Mike Dean studio, even better, or even Slate, this room, I love it. Pick the one that has the highest bass, any far field. Now, play the music.
I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man.
If you know the song very well, you know where is the hi-hats, how sharp the song is, how bassy it is, how is the mid-range, how high is the volume of the vocals. Listen to all these and see if you're moving the ear profile, make it sound better or sound at worst. Because a mastered, perfectly mastered song, usually it's they fix everything in it. So there shouldn't be any resonances that you're hearing in that mix. So all what you have to do, move this to the left, move to the right, till you get exactly how it's supposed to sound like usually how you know it, without any extras or less, like low bass or sharp vocals or sharp highs or whatever. Also, one more very important thing that a lot of people don't know about, that this headphone is like exactly a speaker. What I mean by that, when you put it on, and you've never been in a studio before, and you never had a speakers like a studio speakers before, it will sound so weird for a normal person who only mix on a headphone. Why? Because hearing the music from a speaker that is 1 meter away from you, or if you have a far field, like look, for instance, these are my speaker right here, and this is the horn where the sound, the hi-hat coming in. And I usually set this speaker to be exactly at the same level of my ears, because the hats and the highs come out from this speaker. The same with the other one and the other one. So I have 3 speakers here. And if you never had speakers before, you're going to feel weird. Why? Because the sound when you put the headphone, it will sound like something wrong, like it's coming from far away. So don't worry about that. Don't think, because a lot of people, when they heard that and they sent me a message, it sounds weird, it sounds wrong, something wrong with I think the wire is not connected, or no, this is how it should be. This is how music sounds in a studio. You're far away from the speakers and the music coming away from you from 1 to 2 meters away. Like for instance, if you look at this room, or for instance, this room. So the person is sitting right here, and look how far the speaker from the listening person, the listening position, right here. Okay, this is a near field, which is close to the head. But even though usually your headphone is far away from you, if it's a real headphone, like 1 centimeter away from your ears. So the sound coming directly from the driver all the way to your ears. So there's no room space in the middle. So don't go crazy and think, oh, this headphone is shit, because a lot of people don't know what is the VSX. VSX is not supposed to sound nice. It's supposed to sound accurate. So try to mix through it and see how your mix translates in your car, whatever. And don't forget about everything you knew before. If you never mixed on a real studio, in a real studio, on a real speakers before, don't try to compare VSX to other headphones, because it's not a headphone. It's not supposed to be a headphone. It's an emulation of a studio where you actually sit in a real studio and you are mixing your song. Capiche? This is how it works. So it's not the same. And also, the way you set it up on your ears is totally different. This is how you set it up on your ears. I'm going to make my screen big so I will show you exactly what I mean. Now, this is the first time where you set it on your ears because you're going to set it exactly like you set on monitors in a real studio. You open those to maximum, make them big like that, and let the headphone goes all the way down above your ears. So like my ears now, it's falling down, okay? And then you start raising it up while you're listening to the music. For instance, I'm going to play the music now. I'm going to put it. While you're doing this, you will notice that the highs are changing in level. Sometimes they go higher and then go lower. This is exactly what happens when you sit exactly in a real studio and you set up your seat to be on the same level of the tweeters of any speakers. Exactly if you're on the level of the tweeters, the hats or the high end of a mix sounds really clear. If you go up above it or below it, it sounds like it's more far. So you need to set this up as well. And when you catch it, you catch the perfect like leveling. Like imagine you're going up and down till you catch exactly where the tweeter is. Lock these two and keep it on that space. This is exactly where it's supposed to be. Notice here you have different, there are lines here you'll see. And every line has, there are like clicks in it. So with every click, it's a different level. So this is what you do. You take it up all the way. You put it on your ears. You play the music.
I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always was committed. A poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I can pay you back.
Okay, I caught it.
Show you that I understand. You all appreciate it.
You know, I have this seat of mine that goes up and down, and I set it exactly on the level of my tweeters. If I go up, my mix all change. Like, I don't know how sharp it is. So it's very important to do the same with these headphones because they replicate a real speakers. And the third thing is the most important thing. Don't ever bypass with the DAW bypass, which is here. Let me show you. Your DAW has a bypass, this one here. You can bypass, always bypass with this because this bypass is a level matched. So I will show you what I mean. Now, it's bypassed. Notice they are the same level. But if you do that with this, listen to the difference in level. I'm going to blow your ears. So make sure, reduce the volume a little bit. 1, 2, 3. You see the huge difference. So you don't want to blow your ears. I did it before and I was going to blow my ears because sometimes I increase the volume and I just bypass from this. Never bypass. Imagine that VSX is there and only use this one. Shut it off from here. Never use the DAW, this bypass because of the level problem. And the third thing, which is really, really important, if you never mixed in a real studio before, this very, very important. Never mix in high volume. Okay. When you listen to music in a studio and you increase the volume like you're listening on a headphone, that's bad. Why? In a real studio, you can never increase the volume like you hear it on a headphone. Like I got a lot of people, they're telling me, the sound sounds really far, something wrong with the volume, with the voices, the voice of the vocal, they're really far, is something wrong. Say, but this is normal. I mean, put any speakers away from you and listen how this sounds like. This is how it's supposed to be. So again, VSX was made for a perfect mix that translate outside your studio. Is not supposed to be something that you enjoy, like not something you put on, oh, I'm gonna listen to nice music. No, it wasn't made for that. It was, every room is so accurate that if there is any problem in your mix, that's what you're gonna hear. So you will go and fix that problem. Next, now, in every room, there are 3 speakers. There is the midfield, near field, midfield, and far field. Like when you want to hear how your bass is, how big it is, always listen to the far field and always use a low volume. Try to mix in a way that barely you're hearing the music. What I mean,
I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man.
you set the volume exactly like it's someone talking to you. Like, for instance, my voice now, I'm talking to a person in a room. Set the volume on that level. Don't try to set it really high unless you want to find a specific mistake. For instance, you want to hear the clicks or whatever. Okay, I understand. You can increase it a little bit. But if you're just doing it because you want to enjoy the music, don't do that. You cannot get a proper mix on a high volume. Plus, VSX is not a planar headphone. The driver of this is a cheap driver. It's not like really expensive driver. What you're paying here for is the emulation. There is a problem that most of people don't know. When you increase the volume of anything, you change the frequency response because the driver cannot compress that sound. Like what I mean, it's over compressed, like for instance, the bass, because there's a lot of energy. This cannot take it, so it starts fading down and the mid-range and the high going high. So you think you're mixing properly, but because of this problem, always mix on low volume. Not very low, but enough. You hear it enough that you hear the whole frequency and stop there. Don't increase a lot because you are compressing the sound in a cheap headphone. You can do that in a very expensive headphone because no matter how much you increase the volume, it will always give you the same levels of everything, the bass, the mid-range, and the highs. On cheap headphone, I don't think VSX is one of those expensive headphones, no matter what they advertise for. It's not like these ones, but they do a great job if you know how to use them. So don't increase the volume. Use it like you in any studio. If you hear most of the engineers if you go try to visit any studio and listen to the volume that they use, you'll be shocked. You barely hear the music in the studio. I do the same with my speakers in here. I play them in a way that I barely can hear them, and I start mixing, and then I increase the volume only when I need to. So if I have a problem, like I want to hear the sharpness on high volume, how much is getting compressed on high volume, I increase it like for 10 seconds and I reduce it just to test it in that level. And here there is something called depth. When I talked to Slate at the beginning, when I bought it, I asked on their group, and Slate answered me personally. He said every room was emulated perfectly in a position where usually you sit in the studio, which is the perfect position, right in the middle of the two speakers. The depth was exactly where it is by default. If you increase that, it's like you're increasing the room space. It's like you went a little bit far, or the speaker went away from you. If you want to hear the exact sound, just put it exactly where it is now, which is at the default in the middle. The more you increase that, the more you get more space in the room. You could use that as an effect, but if you really want to hear what the engineer in that studio hearing, just keep it in the middle. Here, a lot of people also don't use. Some people have a problem with hearing. For instance, they cannot hear the highs much. So you put your favorite song and you increase the high till you hear it like usually you hear, because like you wouldn't hear, the more you get older, or let's say you were a DJ, you blew your ears and you've been DJing all your life, you wouldn't hear what a young person is hearing. So you need to increase a little bit the high till you get it in the levels that it's equal to what the music is supposed to be. Otherwise, it will be much lower. So you said it, set the low. I mean, if you're used to a total different headphone, what I believe is how they set it. It's like, imagine you enter a studio. You don't just increase the bass and you enter one of these real studios and you wanted to mix a song. You don't go changing the levels and the bass or the highs. So you have to clean your mind of everything you knew when you use a VSX, especially if you've never been to a real studio before. Forget everything you know. And all I'm asking you to do, just mix a song on them based on what you hear, not based on what you know before. Just, I'm hearing this, okay, the bass needs increasing, reducing, I'm hearing mud, whatever you hear here, listen to it and export the song. After you finish, go listen to the car and see what you're hearing. Does it translate in your car? And here's the magic. You'll be shocked how it will translate. That's the use of a VSX, and not for music or to have fun or whatever. It's only for mixing in a studio. Now, if you bypass, you have here two headphone, HD linear, 1 and 2. These supposed to be a flat headphone. Like, so what they did, they flatten it out. But honestly, I don't like it because I have Sound ID, and I have like 8-9 headphones here, and I use it through Sound ID. They are all flat, and I don't like this flat sound. It doesn't help you in a real mix, because like we want exaggeration in the bass. In the car, in reality, we don't hear music flat. Flat is good if you want to just see the levels of your mix, if it's okay. But if you want to, like, for instance, why I like to hear my mix in a club, for instance. Listen how bassy it is. In an SUV. Now here in this room, look how far the music coming away from it. You understand, with every room, you're sitting in a different spot. So the distance between you and the speakers are different. So, and this is exactly what you're hearing. Listen, for instance, on this room, the Zuma Studios. I'm going to put the far field, which is pretty far from the listener. And this is the midfield. Notice how it goes really far from you. So use these to your advantage and just try to mix through them and fix the problem exactly. And after you pick really your favorite room on each one of these, like for instance, I like from a Slate room, I like this near field, the mono speaker. Save it. So just right click on the thing and say yes. So now if I go to another room, let's say I'm here, and I want to hear my music in mono, I just press 1 and it's on the near field. In each room, like you like one speaker, for instance, for every room, I have a speaker that I do one thing in it. In this room, I like the near field to hear the resonances. Actually, not this one, Sonoma Studio. The near field, I can hear the sharpness and the resonances in the vocal, like how I can say it. These noises that comes, from your nose. What do you call it? Oh, totally. Wow, I forgot. The nasal. Sorry, I forgot the word. So whenever you have a high nasal frequency, you would hear it with this one. So I save it at number 2. So every time, like for instance, I want to hear my mix in mono, I go here. I want to hear the nasal, I put number 2. I want to hear my bass, how it sounds like really the bass. I like those two subwoofers. He has a 18-inch subwoofer, I think, or 15-inch subwoofer, and those massive speakers. So save it to 3. Now I can hear my bass. I want to hear my mix in a car. I love this SUV because the 50 hertz is totally exaggerated. So what I'm trying to listen to, if I can hear the vocal, the bass, the hats, the everything, all the elements, though they are different levels in every room, but I still can hear them. That's the whole idea. So the whole idea of a good mix, so wherever you throw it, was it on a mobile, let's say on a mobile, like I can hear the bass, I can hear the hats, nothing is sharp, nothing is high, nothing is low, it's all the same level. Whatever I listen to, and most of the people don't know we have a LCD4 here. This is like a $5,000 headphone.
Mama, I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man.
If you want to listen and enjoy music, use the LCD4. Like, just put the LCD4 and play your favorite music. And if you just want to enjoy music, but for the sake of mixing, LCD2, LCD4 are really nice to listen to. The rest are good, like 650. I have the HD 650 here in the studio. I think SA770, I need to check what is it actually. These are the earpods from iPhone. The SA770, let's see, what is it? SA770 Slate VSX. What does it emulate? Perfect mixes. No, I think in the user manual, let's check the user manual here. I think here he will tell us each room, what does it. I think you should read it all. Headphone. Let's try to make this smaller a little bit. Oh, that's better. Yeah, like you can talk, like for instance, this is an $80,000 room. Each one of these, okay, here it is. It's the Bayer Dynamic 778 ohm, emulates ohm. This is modern day classic headphone emulation, captures the bright characteristics and has a nice sizzle without being overly harsh. They're quite revealing once you get used to them and offer a different perspective on your mix. Now you can have even more headphone without taking extra space. This is the HD 650S. And we have the SA also, well, we have two Bayer Dynamic. We have the 80 ohm and we have the 250 ohm. Okay, let me check. Here, you have the 250 ohm and 80 ohm. Let me see the difference.
Mama, I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy
Whoa.
trying to raise a man. You always was committed. A poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I can pay you back.
Definitely, I like the 80 ohm. Well, it's preferences. Okay. What else? Let's see what else. Actually, I never checked these out. So it's good now we check them together. So we see each room, what does it. So we have here also the Audio Technica, which is this one, SM50. M50X. This is a very popular headphone. I actually have it here. It's right here. I've been using it forever. The Audio Technica. Look at that. I hate the crap out of it. Yeah, I've been using it. I used to DJ with this thing. Now you can add those popular to your list. And then we have Apple earbuds and AirPods. These two headphones are the most popular listening reference. Is it? Okay. And then here's a perfect reference. It gives you a headphone tone that's so flat, you'll hear your mix in its truest, most authentic form. Since the VSX headphone are designed to be the ultimate blank canvas for the software, we designed this brutally honest emulation as both a mixing option and the default setting whenever you use the level match bypass feature. Okay, whenever you bypass the VSX play. Okay. So if you, because I never use them. So when you press the bypass, you're either using HD Linear 1 or HD Linear 2. It's up to you. You can pick it from here, which one you prefer, 1 or 2. So every time you bypass, your headphone is directly going on a flat mode. Capiche?
Mama, I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man.
No, it's not. It's not changing because it's the same room. Now the LCD4. Okay, let me see the 650. Very close.
Single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I can pay you back. But the plan is to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it. Mama, I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always was committed. A poor
Okay, now let's go through all of them and listen to the song through all of these headphones. So put your headphone, if you have a VSX, put them on, and I'm gonna let you go through them and tell you how I use them basically. First thing I start in a mix, always I start with these one. The mains from Mike Dean Studio, because they have the full frequency. That's all I need now. So, because you need the kick, the bass, and everything all the way till the high. So when I do start my mixing, I always start with Mike Dean's room, and usually I set them on number 5 here. So it's always here.
Mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand.
Now, when I start mixing and I use compressor, I like these near field here. These are very like
Mama, you always was.
Starting mixing, you know, you have these resonances and harsh frequencies and whatever. You can always hear them with the NS10. If you didn't hear them well in NS10, try the Sonoma Studio near field. Oh my God, these things are really sharp. So if there is anything over, directly you hear it in these ones.
Mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always was committed, a poor single mother on welfare.
Also, if you want to hear something really sharp, in every room there is one speaker that can do that, but those one are specifically, they do it better than the others one. The others, like the near field in Arkan Studio.
Mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always was committed.
The only problem with this that I prefer to hear the harshness without subwoofer. In this Arkan Studio, the subwoofer is working even with the small speaker. I have the same problem with this room. It kind of covers the harshness. So if you want to hear the harshness alone, better listen to this room because it doesn't have a subwoofer in here.
Mama, you always was a black queen,
Or listen to this room.
finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always,
Unfortunately, you cannot hear these things, these harshness in other rooms
mama, you always was a black queen.
because they have a lot of bass. The bass covers those harshness. So you need something that doesn't have bass. So these things. Also, listen in the cell phone, but I do the cell phone at the end. But if you want to hear like a lot of harshness, if your kick is really puck, 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 you know, this pump in the 500 hertz.
Mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand.
So it helps you actually. This cell phone, it's an iPhone actually. It really helps, like in getting your mix really fast, especially your kick to level it for small speakers, especially the bass. I use that. In this room, I only use it at the end when I finish my mix and I master it. I just hear my mix on these big speakers. I want to hear how they sound. I never like this one. I hate them actually. I use them in my school when we used to study audio engineering. I forgot what school, SAE. They used to have them. And every time I do a mix on them, they never translate. I don't know if it was the room or these, but a lot of people love them. I just hate them. I never like them. So these big ones are these ones. It's like, this is where I say it's all subjective. That's why they put you in a lot of rooms. Some people would like this room. Like I'm listening on the internet what people say. Some they like this one, some they like that one. So each person have a different perspective, how they want to mix and how they hear and subjectivity and all this. For me, I love the SUV. Mike Dean's car is supposed to be nice, but I cannot get the mix right through it. Like for instance, if I want my mix to sound perfectly on any car, I usually use the SUV. I don't know why.
Mama, you always was a
You
black
hear this
queen,
bass?
mama. I finally understand for a woman.
I'll show you if I do one little mistake with the bass. I hope you have a VSX just to hear what I'm talking about.
Mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand for a woman it ain't easy.
The bass is gone totally.
Always was committed, a poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I can pay you back. But the plan is to show.
Like here, the bass shift, for instance, I'm using 0.9. If I put it 1, I directly hear something wrong. Like the bass is too much for the mix.
Mama, you always was a black.
If I put it at 0.9, I just like, nice. This is where it should be.
Mama, you always was a black.
That's why I love this SUV car. But I don't know about you. Maybe you will try it and you won't hear, but this is how you try. You just, for instance, when I do a mix, do it backward. For instance, if you know your car really well, go listen to your mix in your car and see what is the mistake. And then come and listen in the SUV. Like I have two SUVs outside, two Toyota Prado and Toyota Land Cruiser GXR. And I listen to the sound system in these cars. And then I come to the room here and I listen to the SUV and I see what I'm not hearing. So do it backward. Instead of translating here to there, try to understand how can your car help you to get your mix right. So where it should be, like when I'm hearing it in the car, is it lower than it should be or higher than it should be? If it's lower than it should be, that means what I'm hearing is not enough. I have to increase more. And with the time, you will start finding how to your mix translate perfectly between the VSX and your car. So now, for instance, the moment I drop the SUV, I get my mix, the low end perfect directly from the first time. I just go to the car. Oh, damn, that's good. Especially the low end, if you're sitting in a studio like me, in a home studio. If I go a little bit far right here in the middle of the room, there's no bass. And if I come a little bit close, because my room is 4 meters, and it happened that I'm sitting in between the phase area where there's no bass at all, and the too much bass, which is right here. So right here on the table is too much bass. Where I'm sitting is a perfect place, like exactly the perfect place. I set up my room perfectly that I'm hearing the bass exactly that I'm hearing in the VSX. So I set up my room. Now, it's not the best room in the world, but it does the job perfectly. I could mix and translate outside my studio really, really perfectly, only with my monitors. But VSX helped me to go out of my studio and still mix and get the same result. And that's what VSX is good. It doesn't replace your studio, but it helps you. If you don't have monitors and you don't want to invest in monitors, you're living in an apartment, you cannot have speakers, get a VSX, man. Don't bother with anything else. It's a whole studio on your ears. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any question, please go ahead and comment down, and I'm gonna try and reply to you. I didn't want to do a second video about VSX, but I'm getting so much questions like, what should I do? How should I set it up? How it should sound? Again, all I say to anyone who's buying the VSX, forget everything you know. If you never mixed in a studio before, forget everything you know and that you learned through mixing through headphone. And don't ever think that what you're going to hear in the VSX is what you hear in the headphone. The headphone gives you a direct sound between your drive and your ears. VSX emulation gives you how the sound should be in a real studio. And when I mean a real studio, I mean a real studio, like you're sitting there where the person is. So this guy sits here, you are actually sitting there in that room. So you're not listening to headphone. It's not helping you only to emulate. You're actually sitting in the real studio. So you have to put this in your mind before you put these cans on your head. Wash up everything you know, get them out, and start from the beginning, because it's going to change everything you do in your mix comparing to all. Look at that. Look, I have a bunch of them here. I barely use them anymore because of this thing. You can use it in anything. I mean, I don't like how it sounds just alone without the emulation. I just use it for mixing. But really, get one of these and use it the right way, and you'll be really happy to hear your mixes outside your room really perfect without any highs and lows or anything. So I hope with this video, guys, if you really like these videos that I'm doing for you, I hope you can support my channel and subscribe and like and comment. If you have any question, I would love to answer you and help you as much as I know and I can. And so for me, Joe Mitri, signing off. Bye for now.